Hi, I'm Ethan, and welcome to the Home Studies blog. This video will look at things you may not know about Cambridge Advanced Writing Part 1 in order to get a better grade in your essay. So, if you're preparing for Cambridge Advanced Certificate, or you're interested in learning more about it, then I highly suggest you watch this video as well as others in the series. Let's start off by looking at introductions, namely the thesis statement. Now, this statement is probably the most important sentence you'll write in the entire essay. And if you get it wrong, it could actually undermine the rest of your writing. But what is it? And how can it be written more effectively? Well, it's a statement that establishes the purpose of your essay. Therefore, you should focus the rest of your writing on either proving the thesis statement or answering the question it poses. So, now it's time for a little task. Therefore, pause the video and read the two thesis statements and decide which one you think is correct. So, let's check out the answer. And it is both of them. And this is because that it can be written in the form of a statement or a question, just as long as you mention which two of the options this essay has chosen to compare. In this case, a swimming pool and a library. Then either way is possible. But personally, I believe that the question form is more engaging, as it clearly poses a question in the reader's mind, which I think is more interesting. But whatever you decide, try to hook the reader into wanting to continue reading. And just one little final tip about writing the rest of the essay. If what you want to write does not go towards proving your thesis statement or answering the question that it asks, then bin it. Don't use it, as it'll probably be superfluous information, information that you do not need. So, now let's backpedal a little and discuss writing around your thesis statement. Now, one of the most common mistakes students can make in the introduction is simply writing a thesis statement and then jumping to the first body paragraph to prove it. Instead, before you do this, you should write around your statement for 1 to 3 sentences. But what on earth do I mean write around it? Well, let's take a look at a sample essay question, and I'll show you how to write around the topic for a few sentences. And I'll also explain the benefits of doing so. So, which school facilities should receive money from local authorities? A library, catering facilities, or a swimming pool? Write an essay discussing 2 of the facilities in your notes. You should explain which facility is more important for local authorities to give money to, giving reasons to support your answer. As some of you will probably have noticed, we've already written 2 thesis statements for this essay question. So now let's take one and write around it. Deciding how to utilize scarce financial resources effectively is difficult for local authorities. So some of you are probably asking yourself now, what's the function or the advantage of writing this sentence? Well, it states how difficult the question is to answer. Therefore, it serves to justify it as a worthy subject to write about. Furthermore, it functions to hold the reader in suspense at how you will approach this challenge. So let's see the next sentence. Should it be spent on improving children's health and fitness, or enhancing their knowledge? So, what do you think the function of the sentence is? Well, it does not directly mention which 2 of the 3 options have been chosen, but it hints at it, thus enhancing intrigue. Also, the sentence operates to elude potential arguments that you'll make further in the essay. In this instance, the fact that a swimming pool will provide children with health and fitness, and that libraries will enhance their knowledge. So now it's your turn. Read this essay question, then in the comments section, write a complete introduction. This will include a thesis statement, as well as writing around it. The first commenters will get feedback on their responses, so give it a try. Also, I suggest reading other commenters' introductions and giving them feedback and suggestions, so you can all improve together. So now, let's look at choosing the right option to write about. Many CAE students often spend far too much time thinking about which two of the three options to write about. For some, the choice is easy. For example, an ex-student of mine had an essay question: which form of renewable energy would be best for a tourist island? And she had to choose between wind turbines, solar panels, and nuclear power. Well, as it just so happens, she was a wind turbine engineer, so for her, the choice was obvious. However, you'll be fortunate if the essay question includes your field of work as an option. But what I would suggest is choose the subjects you're familiar with more than others. Or pick the option you believe in or consider to be true. For instance, I think that solar panels and wind turbines would be best energy source for an island. Thus, if I choose these, my arguments would be much more robust and believable to the reader. Studying essay vocabulary. What type of subjects are going to be in the essay? Now, this is the multi-million-dollar question. Something almost every student asks me. And this is because they want to know what vocabulary they need to learn before the exam. And the answer I give is always the same. And that is, nobody can really know. Obviously, because it's a secret. However, there are specific topics and question forms that continuously arise. So, to discover these, let's do a little quiz to see if you can work out the topics for yourself. Read the 6 potential essay questions and decide which are 3 real former exam questions and which are not. And most importantly, think about why some of them would or would not be included in the writing section. So here are your questions. Now, let's take a look at the correct answers. And they are 1, 3, and 5. But how do we know these are legitimate questions and the others are not? Well, it all has to do with the subject matter. So, education, facilities that should be renovated, built, or funded, and health. These are some of the most common essay subjects, frequently repeated year after year. There are some other notable topics that include technology, environmentalism, and economics. So if you have some time before the exam, then I would read some articles on these subjects. Now let's see why the other questions would probably not appear in the CAE. Firstly, you would be unlikely to see questions around politics, as this is an area that people feel rather strongly about. Subjects are usually designed to be neutral and not emotive. Therefore, you'll also probably not read a question about the topic of religion, since this is overly personal to most people, and therefore it's usually avoided. And lastly, culturally specific questions are steered away from. For instance, if one of the 3 celebrity guest options included Mohamed Salah, then maybe only Egyptians and football fans would know who he is. Or if one of the guests were, say, Logan Paul, then slightly older examinees would probably scratch their heads in confusion about who this is. Structuring paragraphs does not come easy for many people, even native English speakers. This is because writers often do not know the purpose of the essay paragraph. Therefore, I've devised a template to help you with the exam, and that is the C structure. Firstly, we have the statement. This is the main point of the paragraph, the central idea that you want to express. So the rest of the paragraph should be designed around proving the statement. Therefore, we move to the explanation. This expresses why you think the statement is accurate. Next up, elaboration. You can add further details that back up the explanation or justify your original statement in the sentence. And finally, the example. Examples are used to show real-world evidence that your statement is true. Now, these can come from facts and figures, such as surveys, university studies, or even anecdotes from your own life. So now it's time for a wee task. So rearrange the 4 sentences so they go in the following order: statement, explanation, elaboration, and example. So now we'll take a look at the correct order. Let's have a look at that now. Firstly, we have the statement. Now, this one is the city should ban all automobiles from the city during business hours. Now, this sentence reflects a belief or opinion on the matter from the writer. Number 2, the explanation. This would reduce the adverse effects of vehicle pollution on citizens. Now, here is the reason why the writer believes the statement to be true. Number 3, the elaboration. Therefore, government spending on healthcare would be reduced. Now, this details another benefit of the original statement. Number 4, the example. The evidence for this is demonstrated in Copenhagen, where a work hours car restriction resulted in a 15% drop in respiratory diseases. Here, the elaboration is exemplified in this sentence. All right, so now bear in mind that the C structure is not a hard and fast rule. In fact, I would not use this format exactly for every paragraph. Therefore, mix it up a bit. Maybe start with an example and then create a statement from that. You'll get better marks for this, as it'll show that you have a versatile structural range. Examples. Now, for the CAE exam, examples don't have to be true. In fact, you can make them up, as the examiner just wants to see that you can structure the paragraph correctly. There is no fact-checking. In fact, you can create your own example templates before the exam and fill the rest out in the context of the question. Actually, creating fake examples can be pretty fun. So let's check out these fake examples. Now, remember, I would definitely use these. These are a fantastic time-saving device, as you can include it in any kind of exam context. Let me show you an example. Let's read the first one. So, this is demonstrated in a study conducted by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, last year, where it was discovered that exercise, including swimming, enhances academic performance. Here, we could use this same green template for a whole range of different contexts. Let's try another one, where we've said new car models, even petrol ones, produce 85% less CO2 than just 5 years ago. So I would suggest creating your own versatile templates, as this could definitely help your performance in the exam. Congratulations, you're a champion. You made it to the end of the video. I hope that you feel you are able to approach the CAE essay with much more confidence. If so, go ahead and click the like button and share the post on your social media. And don't forget to leave any examples in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. So, have a good rest of the day, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.